I really don't care what happens to her at all. I don't care. Like everybody they tiptoe around with this social media, but what y'all don't get is that it be real consequence for y'all little flexes, y'all quick flexes for $300 that you need. It be consequence.
It all started with a whisper, the kind of whisper that spreads across social media faster than anyone can stop it, the kind that leaves nothing untouched in its path. One moment, things seemed calm, at least on the surface, even though everyone knew they weren't perfect. Then suddenly, the internet was buzzing with a story that would forever change how people looked at Iman Shumpert. For weeks, quiet rumors had been circling about tension in his family, whispers of something not sitting right. But no one expected the spark to come from his own daughter. When it did, it wasn't just a spark. It was an explosion, a heartbreaking statement that stopped people in their tracks. People had long speculated that Iman's relationship with his kids, especially his oldest daughter, was going through a rough patch. Most assumed it was normal father-daughter disagreements. Nothing big enough to grab headlines. But when her words surfaced online, raw and unfiltered, everything shifted. There were no PR filters, no carefully worded messages. It was just pure pain, spilling across the screen in a way that left readers stunned. The statement wasn't long, but it didn't have to be. Sometimes the shortest sentences hit the hardest. She spoke about feeling unseen, unheard, and unimportant. The kind of words that make a person's chest tighten. She didn't name her father directly, but the implications were undeniable. And with the internet being what it is, it didn't take long for people to connect the dots. Screenshots spread like wildfire. Fan pages reposted her words, and within hours, Iman's name was trending for all the wrong reasons. At first, he stayed silent, completely quiet. No tweets, no Instagram stories, no statements. Some people saw that as guilt, the kind that makes someone retreat instead of defend themselves. Others thought maybe he was just trying to process it all before speaking. But silence is dangerous in the court of public opinion. The longer he said nothing, the more the narrative began to twist against him. As the hours turned into days, people started building their own versions of the story. Some claimed they had insider information, saying this had been brewing for months. Others tied it back to his recent split with Teyana, speculating that the divorce had triggered a domino effect of emotional chaos inside the family. Meanwhile, Teyana, though not directly involved, posted something cryptic on her Instagram story, a simple picture of her daughters with the caption, "Always my babies," no tags, no direct shade. But to the public, it was loaded. It looked like a mother quietly taking sides without saying so outright. Fans immediately began debating. Was this about Iman not being there enough? Was it about broken promises? Or was it something deeper? Something only the family knew. The pressure built and built until Iman couldn't stay quiet anymore. When he finally spoke, it wasn't polished. It wasn't rehearsed. You could hear the pain in his voice. He didn't begin with greetings or formalities. He dove straight into the hurt. He admitted that reading his daughter's words felt like getting punched in the chest. He said he never imagined she would feel the need to pour her heart out to the world instead of coming to him. His voice cracked more than once. And in those cracks, people realized this wasn't just celebrity drama. This was real. This was a father and a daughter caught in something that went far beyond headlines. But it wasn't all soft emotion. Iman made it clear that while he respected her feelings, there were parts of the story the public didn't know. He hinted at months of complicated family dynamics, schedules that kept him away longer than he wanted, and disagreements about parenting after the divorce. He didn't throw blame at anyone, but you could feel the tension in his words. He was balancing fatherhood with the pressures of being a public figure, and that balance was starting to crumble. The fans, as always, were split. Some sympathized with him, pointing out how difficult it must be to co-parent while living life in the public eye. Others weren't as forgiving. They said no matter how busy or complicated things got, a father should never let his child feel like she has to scream for his attention on social media. The comments under his video became proof of just how divided people were. Thousands of strangers debating whether his explanation was genuine or just another excuse. Teyana didn't address his response directly, but she posted a video of her daughters baking cookies at home with her. On the surface, it looked innocent, but in the middle of all this, every little move felt like it carried meaning. Fans saw it as her quiet way of saying, "They're happy with me. They're safe with me." Without saying a word, it felt like a statement. What made the situation more intense was how quickly it grew into something bigger than just one family. Social media turned it into a cultural debate about fathers, daughters, and emotional neglect. People started sharing their own stories about absent dads, broken communication, and kids hiding their pain until it bursts out in public. Suddenly, this wasn't just about Iman anymore, it was symbolic. A mirror held up to so many other families going through similar battles. Iman, however, wasn't done talking. In a follow-up post, he opened up even more. He admitted to mistakes he wished he could take back. He mentioned the divorce again, saying it was one of the hardest things he had ever faced. Not because the relationship ended, but because of how it affected his kids. His voice broke as he said, "I thought I was protecting them from the mess. I didn't realize I was making them feel like they weren't part of my world anymore." Those words weren't a defense. They weren't an excuse. They were a confession. And in that confession, people saw something human. The tone shifted. Not everyone forgave him, but enough people softened their stance. Suddenly, the conversation wasn't just about pointing fingers. It was about whether this family could heal. That's when the real twist came. Out of nowhere, a private message from his daughter leaked. It wasn't filled with anger. It wasn't bitter. It was short and tender. "I just want us to be okay again." Whether she meant for it to be public or not, it instantly changed the atmosphere. It revealed that beneath the pain, there was still love, still hope for repair. Iman reposted that message with a caption that said only, "Me too." No hashtags, no emojis, no added words, just those two. And for the first time in weeks, the comments filled with hope instead of hate. But as always, social media stayed skeptical. Some immediately dismissed it as PR damage control. "We've seen this before." One comment read, racking up thousands of likes. "They'll act like everything's fine." Then 2 weeks later, it's chaos again. Others reference past celebrity reconciliations that fizzled out quickly. To them, this was just another scripted moment for public consumption. Still, there was another side of the internet that wanted to believe. They looked for small, subtle clues that maybe this time was different. They noticed how Teyana's eyes lingered a second longer in recent photos, or how Iman's body language seemed softer. They pointed out the little things, a hand brushing against a shoulder, a faint smile that felt too genuine to be staged. To them, this wasn't about branding. It was about two parents trying to rebuild broken trust, step by step. The truth, of course, is that only they know what's real. Behind closed doors, away from the flashing cameras and endless commentary, there's a different story unfolding. A story the public will never fully see. Maybe their conversations are raw and messy. Maybe some nights are silent, cold, and filled with regret. Or maybe there are small victories like laughing together again, even if just for a moment, without forcing it. The public sees the snapshots. They live the hours in between. And one thing is certain, this wasn't just another viral scandal. It wasn't just gossip for people to chew on before moving to the next trending topic. This was a rare, unguarded glimpse into a family battling storms most of us can only imagine. A family trying, against all odds, to stitch itself back together while the world watches and comments on every move. That's why people couldn't stop talking about it. It wasn't just because they're celebrities. It wasn't just because drama sells. It was because the story felt painfully familiar. Strip away the fame, the luxury, the headlines, and what's left is something deeply human. The fear of losing someone you love, the regret of realizing you may have pushed them too far away, and the stubborn, fragile hope that maybe, just maybe, it isn't too late to make things right. Because at the end of the day, that's what everyone is rooting for, even if they don't admit it. Not just a picture-perfect Instagram post. Not just a moment that trends for a day or two, but a real chance for healing. And in a world where so much feels temporary, where relationships end with a swipe and feelings are treated like content, maybe that's why this story hit differently. It reminded people that beneath all the noise, there's still a universal truth. Families hurt, families break, and sometimes families find their way back. And that hope, that fragile, stubborn hope, is something no amount of skepticism can erase.